What's up, guys? Today's agenda is selling these fish tanks. I don't need them. If you're local to me here in Minnesota, central Minnesota to be in particular, get at me because I'll sell you these, probably even give them to you if you're local because I need them gonzo. Anyways, guys, today's video is on the black piranha. I'm super jacked up for this. The main piranha that everybody thinks of is the red belly piranha, and I've done videos in the past kind of debunking that they're kind of boring to keep in aquariums and they're actually not that aggressive. But today's video is actually on the black rhombus piranha. This is more of an oddball predator fish that not a lot of people keep, but it is definitely a crazy predator. They get twice the size as a red belly piranha and have a much larger mouth, and I gotta say they are much less timid. Today I want to talk about the pure basics of keeping the black piranha in a fish tank. There's a lot of things that people don't think of, and I want to get down to all the nitty-gritty details that is going to help you if you're planning on keeping this fish in a fish tank, or else if you just want to learn about black piranhas. I first want to talk about some of the most common complaints that fish keepers who keep these fish talk about. The number one most important one is no tank mates. So you have to get a pretty large tank and you can't have tank mates. This sucks. I hate it. You could maybe get away with some dither fish, but any fish that you keep with a black piranha is going to eventually be eaten. Secondly, this fish grows super slow. It is said to have grown a ½ inch to 1 inch per year. So just to get a 12-inch fish, you're going to be looking at 12 years. And third, these fish can live up past 20 years. So this is a super long-term decision, guys. Another complaint is that this fish is a solitary fish. It likes to be by itself. So a positive to red belly piranhas, you can at least have a shoal of them, whereas with the black piranha, you're only going to be able to keep one of them. All right, so now that I got those complaints out of the way, I know it's sort of annoying if you're thinking about getting this fish because, yes, they still are cool fish, but now I want to talk about setting up a tank for them because this is also a big deal. It is said that a 75-gallon tank minimum is right around the right choice because that 18-inch depth is a good choice and it's not overly large. You know, this is a slow growing fish, so you could probably grow it out in a lot smaller of tanks for years upon years. But once it hits like that 10-inch mark, a 75-gallon should be a minimum. As far as tank mates, I already mentioned this. You're not going to be able to keep this fish with anything because you're going to come home and it's going to be in pieces. It is said that it can eat a fish of its size in a couple of bites. I don't know if I believe that, but if you watch videos on people pulling back their jaw and looking at their actual teeth, they are just crazy scary. I couldn't imagine living on the Amazon River and having to bathe in there, and the thought of a 7-pound black piranha swimming around with this thing looks like it could take a chunk out of your thigh the size of a tennis ball. As far as feeding these guys, they're going to need a protein-rich diet. It is said that you need to get these on pellets ASAP because a lot of people have problems with them eating when they're smaller, and then they feed them live feeders because they think they're going to starve to death, and then they get stuck on live feeders and they can never get away from it, whereas they need the vitamins in pellets because there's a lot of vitamins that they're not going to get in only feeder fish. And also, think outside the box as far as protein. They can also eat insects, crustaceans. There's a lot more things other than feeder fish. As far as substrate, it's not going to be a huge deal. A lot of people like to use sand because in the Amazon that probably replicates naturalness to the best of the ability. As far as lighting can be a weird thing with piranhas because it is said that their natural habitat is more dark and a person should turn down the lighting. But then in turn, it's also said that you need to have a bright light on all the time or else they're going to get too timid and get used to not having any lighting, and then they're also going to be timid with the light on. So I don't know, with my red belly piranhas, I have a darker light, but now I never see them. So it's kind of like I tried to replicate their natural habitat with darkness, but on the other side of it, I never see the fish, so it kind of sucks, because maybe it would have been better for me just to use a brighter light and have the fish get used to it. As far as water parameters and filtration, I've learned that piranhas are so tough. Like, I've had it to where my tank was super high on nitrates and the fish have been completely fine over and over, because if I'm being honest, my piranha tank is kind of like one of my least favorites, and it gets forgotten about because I never see them. They're somewhat boring. I'm going to be an advocate of telling people not to get piranhas, but that's just my personal opinion. I've personally never kept a black rhombus piranha like this video, but I would love to indulge in it and just see if they're any different. As far as their feeding traits go, what happens is they are more opportunistic feeders. What's going to happen is they more or less chase when they see something moving, and they mainly feed on sick fish and hurt crustaceans, things that are like, they're not ravenous feeders. They're more opportunistic feeders. You know what I mean? So if an earthworm is there, they're going to eat it. They're not looking to make a big deal out of showing all their aggression, but instead just stay low key and kind of opportunistic and just take what they can get, sort of say. It's going to be really up to you what kind of setup you go with. Here's a corner tank. This is a really cool tank. I want to give a shout out to all the people in Piranha Hobbyist Facebook group for letting me use the video. Make sure to join up, and guys, let me know what you think of the black piranha.